At Kings Park Arena, of course, it's still the frenzy in the background, but for us here, we are still trying to reminisce on what was an interesting game. Here with Kao Sports' very own Anis Takorebi Runji. Let us first start with the proper things. Where have you paid PR? You now have a fans page. Let us first start from there.
I need to say it public.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking for the admin of that so that I can give them good photos. I know I don't post many photos of myself.
Yeah.
So it's a bit difficult
Mm.
for the admin to get them. But also, I'm also happy. I checked that account. I checked that account Sunday. I'm so happy. Like, I want to see how many more photos of me they have. I think you probably noticed now I have even stopped posting me so that I can see how long. It's going to be 300 days until November when the awards night. I hope I'm doing a good job now to get nominated. But
So in the event that you don't get the award, that means that it continues.
they continue. Like, I don't know.
That's a hard job. That's a hard job.
Is it Rugby AP who was counting down the days since they had been one champions, and then they won again. So he said, we shall continue up to 2027. So same thing. The goal at the end of the awards night, the other awards, to continue working hard. You are sitting together, Ruby. Maybe we should create a fun account.
I don't think I'm as popular as you are. Me, I'm just a fat cat. But anyway, just jumping into what happened today, from your perspective, first and foremost, before even going to the nitty-gritties, Pirates and Hippos, what was your impression?
As you can probably tell from my voice, of course I was commenting.
Yes.
But I've lost my voice because there was a lot of up and down, up and down. The highs were quite a number. And I think this is one of those games that you look forward to for a very long time. I've been procrastinating, of course, me to work on a Hippos piece for whether they are closing the gap between them and the top three.
Yeah.
They came maybe 4 years ago and took over with Robert Seguya. They took over fourth place from Mongas and Buffalo. And slowly by slowly they've come closing the gap. This year we've seen them hit scopes, we've seen them draw with Evans, and they've picked a lot of bonus points against Pirates. Who knows what they can possibly go further ahead to do. Maybe they could win the championship this year. But I think this was a game that showed character from both teams. They fight back from Hippos led first, so they fight back from Pirates to not just stay in the game but take the lead and then stay ahead. But then also Hippos did not go down easy. They kept the fight up to the very, very last minute, and that's Hippos have been masters of the breakdown, but stuck deep in that just one moment that won the game. For me, the most important thing that I'll take from today's game is the character that the two teams have shown. And we had been some of the people that had been saying championship, I love the league, but I think the championship is really up to feeling and it's games like this. Yeah.
Actually, the championship has been one very, very interesting one. But there's one thing you mentioned, of course, the breakdown was one of the places where Hippos really dominated. Where do you think they failed?
I think from last weekend, they played against Hippos. The second half began with Utimba. Like 5 minutes explaining what he wants at the breakdown. Hippos got the better of that, and the second half knew the results. The Pirates did not commit mistakes in the breakdown. They just left it open, and those were the turnovers that Hippos were getting. They left it open to them. They did not give away penalties at the breakdown. Turnovers, it's not a rival and departure. But I think where Pirates did so well today was, and that's what Edmund Charisma said to me in the post-match, was in their pack. Hippos have a heavy pack, but today Pirates had Ivan Kabagambe and Ruweza at the front row, but then the second row is where the people Brandon Keba and
Brandon Keba,
That's, I think you're probably looking at 100 kilos just in the second, 100 kilos per player in the second row, which has helped push them so much in the scrum. They had that dominance in the scrum penalty after scrum penalty, and it has, in some cases, got them out of trouble, but then it also given them the front foot. And I think once we look back at the game and we go over it minute by minute, we see that the impact of the second row players is not just adding weight to the scrum, but how they play tight in the midfield of the pitch. I think has helped very good.
There's one thing when I was earlier talking to Conrad Wanyama, he said that their display today, he rated it actually as 4 out of 10, saying that in another situation they could perhaps have been punished for their very many mistakes.
They did play well.
A couple of new players in the team, Frederick Mulindwa, I think that's the name. Yeah, he was very, very impressive off the kick. But do you think that there is a bit of a synergy problem when it comes to the Pirates team? You know, so many constant changes, so many injuries and everything.
No, not really. In my view, not really. I think, first of all of the teams have big challenges. They've come from a 40-man squad for one team, 45 men from one team, and now they have 60 men for two teams. Ideally, you would expect maybe 8 or 7, but it's now 60. So it's always going to be difficult for teams to maintain a consistent squad for the length of the season. But in round 4, I think most of the teams have experimented enough. And Pirates it's working at the moment, but they're giving us many. I don't use the word kids. They're giving us many of the young boys a chance to get a bite of the cherry, to get a chance to feel what is coming ahead. Because once we've got into the playoffs, there won't be time to think and tick around. Yeah? So this is the time for Pirates. This is the time for Hippos as well, and the other teams in the championship to try out the other players that they have in the 60-man squad. This is the time. You look at Pirates. I think they've not changed much. They've only been forced into making changes because of player availability and then also due to injury. Frank the guy is playing only in his second game, and today I think was his first start after that concussion. William Murray has had to come in in place of Ivan Magom, who was suspended last weekend. They didn't play that Ivan Magom, and without William Murray, and you can see the impact William Murray had today. In the midfield, I think Frederick Mulindo has done so well today. With the season the way it started, I was only able to watch Pirates Stevens and then Pirates Cops. I think they were leaking points in the midfield. That disconnect between Jones Kamiza and Eric Mula Mula. Justin Kimono is a heavy ball carrier, and so the defenders would hesitate a bit to close that gap. But then when you're faced with a player like Innocent Wokto, who is able to recognize that one player has stepped up and the other hasn't stepped up, that's the try that he scored against him. That's the try that Wokto has been scoring against everyone. Today, on the other hand, you could tell that Mulindo and Jones Kamiza were on the same frequency. They stepped up together, made those tackles. If the ball has gone out, they're communicating together, same line as they are in their pressing and in their drifting. And I think Mulindo has slotted it perfectly. For the rest of the team, I think these are the players they've always had. Maybe Brendan Keba is now starting, forcing Chidega to go to the back row. And then I think at the front row, Ivan Kabagambe returning pushes Alvin Bukondo to the bench. So these are the same players that they've always had. So what has been the major change was Frederick Mulindo today, I think.
Yeah, I think one of the things that where we were still watching the game from, I did share a sentiment that I think Hippos are living way too much on the edge. I personally had a problem with their decision making from a point where it was a 16, if I'm not mistaken, it was 16-7. 16-7, and they had a lot of opportunities where they could have cut the score to a few points, taking the penalty. I mean, we did not see Yasin Waswa attempt today, apart from, I think, the first kick early in the game, which he missed. But then they decided to just back themselves. Luckily, this time round, they scored just next to the post, converted that one, 16-14. But then yet again, 16-14, just around where we are standing, they had another penalty that could have possibly taken them ahead if it had been converted. Do you have anything to say about their decision making today?
Let me tell you something. The wind at King's Park. You see that? How the wind was blowing the side. And remember, Pirates won the toss today. Dexy won the toss today. And chose a side. He chose to start from the other side. So that in the second half, Pirates would be kicking into the wind. And you saw how Frederick Mulindo kicked that penalty in the second half. Very good penalty. Yasin was kicking against the wind. And a bit of some context. From last weekend, he had a 22%. Yeah, we kicked 2 out of 7 attempts for points last weekend against Hippos. They could have won the game, but he missed points. Hippos missed points as well. But generally, it appears to be a kicking problem at Hippos. And so when you come for this game where you'll not get very many opportunities to put points on the board, you would opt for the point which has always worked for you. I thought their lineouts on defense were very good. Julius appeared very good on lineouts. But then on attack, it wasn't as clean. So you have to make a decision between going for touch You have the penalty halfway there, and then going for touch inside the 22 and you lose the line out. Or you can play on and probably advance with your big men, David Wako, Elifaze Mong, Andrew Diambo was carrying well today, Sean Mubiru, James Okello. You have all those 5 guys who can carry for you, alternating maybe through like 4 phases before you play with your backs. And I would understand why Hippos made such a call. There won't be Pirates will very rarely give you an opportunity for points in this zone, especially in the second half, very rare. So if you get such opportunities, you could take a penalty, and when they kick to you, they come in your own area. So you'd rather play from here. I would agree with them. You'd rather play from here and put points and put 5, put 7 on the board. They got rewarded through Andrew Diambo. Probably Pirates held on too tightly that they did not get the opportunity. And you've seen Pirates do that. They did that against Cobs here. And Cobs, a team with very good lineouts, a team with good kickers, were forced to start tapping and going because penalties are a bit out of range. They are outside the 10-meter territory. I wouldn't blame Hippos for the decisions that they made. The only problem with such a situation is that damned if you do, damned if you don't. If they, like they did with Andrew Diambo under the uprights there, they got the 5 and then the extra 2 from Yasin Waswa. Today, Yasin Waswa, there's a point when Andrew Diambo pointed to the uprights and Yasin Waswa picked some grass, checked his bearings and decided to go to the corner. I think that line out was close. I think they won. That's the line out that they lost to Humphrey Tashovia, but then Humphrey Tashovia knocked the ball forward around that zone. So you can see how difficult they were stuck between a rock and the hard place. That's where they were. You go for the line out, you lose the ball. Luckily, it's a handling error. You go for points, you miss. You're kicking against the wind.
I understand the whole dynamic of kicking against the wind, but me, I personally felt you could have attempted. But anyway.
Especially for someone who had 22% last weekend. And remember, Hippos and Heathens, they have the highest number of points scored, tries scored. I think they are top 3, but then the lowest number of conversions. So you're thinking, why do we have to kick anymore? Yeah, when we can score the tries. And against Pirates, it's always 50-50. They are not a team that consider a lot.
Anyway, as we conclude this, I want you to point out for me maybe a couple of players that caught your eye from both sides.
I think today was the day when Nathan Bwambale finally got his flowers. He has been playing so well, carry after carry. So to be named man of the match, I was very happy with that. But then you look at, when you continue to look at the Pirates, I think the second row, Omar Duff and Brendan Keba, they might not have been like standout, but then they pulled off some plays that have guided Pirates to win. That penalty by William Corey was from a turnover by Omar Duff. And all you need is that one player to stand up in that one moment and win the ball for you and win the game for you. I think William Corey, it was timely for William Corey to be available for the Pirates today without their playmaker, Ivan Magomu, and not very many options at number 10.
It's actually an intriguing thing because unless something has changed, isn't William Corey part of the 7th setup?
I think, of course, this is grapevine, but William Corey will not be able to make the trip to Montevideo due to work commitments, the famous work commitments, and so I think Tolbert Onyango has had a change of heart because we've seen there are times when players are not going to travel. Maybe they are still in contention, but William Corey, I think, has pulled out and said I'll not be able to make it. So he's free to play for his club. The next tournament is in 2 weeks, but after that it's a whole month. So if you're not going to be playing, and it's something it's the opinion I've always had. There's players who, as a coach, are probably not in your equation or are probably still on the fringe. They're not yet good enough to make it at that level. Please allow them to play for their clubs, so that they can get some game time, but then you're fine-tuning some of the things. The risk of injury it's a valid one, but then you can get injured in training as well. So I think the Uganda Sevens is going for safety first, which has worked most times, but it's also affecting the players who are not getting the chance to be on that final 12-man squad. When I look at Hippos, I think Andrew Diambo has been the exception of all. He's one of their co-captains, so leading from the front is very, very important. He got rewarded with a try today. I think when I look at the front row, I think Sean Mubiru might have got sent off there, and then also Fahad Maida on the side. When he went off, I have not yet spoken to him, but you could tell that he wasn't happy with how Pirates were scrummaging. And he kept saying that they were deliberately angry, and that's how he messed up his, I think, ankle. So maybe we'll rewatch the footage, speak to the few players, and see if what Maido is alleging is actually true.
I can actually confirm that when we were having an interview with Conrad, he came on the side and was like, Conrad, talk about the twisting of ankles and whatnot. So
it's something in the scrum. He was not very happy, and he got subbed off within 3 minutes or so. That's how he was able to come back on, because it was a tactical sub that early in the game. That's how he was able to come back on and play. But I think Fad Maido held his weight well in open play. David Wako, of course, not so much to report about the backline, but my Brighton Bakasa. I have him on my list of players to watch this season, and he's not disappointing, Brighton Bakasa.
Yeah, definitely. I really thought Brighton Bakasa should have gotten a lot more of the ball. But anyway, looking forward, generally you've talked about the championship and how it is really looking. Anything else that you would particularly like to add in regards to this championship and how you see the trajectory moving?
I miss the league. I will miss the league. I like the home and away. I like we win, we have won. No playoffs, no Kabwida away. I will miss the league. But the championship is delivery. When I look at the standings and all, I think we are not paying enough attention to right. The beaten Buffaloes today at Shadow. They are still undefeated in the league. One could make the same excuse that we had in peace have won 5 games in a row because they have not yet played any of the top 3. But Riders are having a good run of form, and from a team that was in 2019, 2020, they were at the bottom. They survived relegation because that season there was no relegation. But now they are leading the table. I think we need to take a look at them, maybe pay some more attention to them. And it's also interesting to see, our focus might be at the top, but then at the bottom it's going to be interesting to see how teams keep swapping points. Eagles, Warriors beat them today. Walukuba and Rams are also down there with them, so it's going to be interesting to see how the season pans out. I think this is probably going to be the most exciting season we have had in a very, very long time. And not because we have the playoff season ahead of us, but because we have one shot and one shot on. It's giving us some exciting games. It's also giving us some close results, and it's giving us something to look forward to as the weeks progress.
I don't know if you've got any chance to get any updates from the women's side, from the women's league.
I did. Let me just check my phone. I know Black Pearls pumped. The update has been posted in the Rugby Union Media Group.
All I know, I think what I know, it was personal. This one for the Black Pearls, they had a point to prove.
Always, they beaten the Nile Rapids have lost to Black Pearls by 77 points to 5.
Wow.
And then the She-Wolves in Bali have beaten the Panthers by 19 points, which I think that was a very entertaining game. And then Thunderbirds 33, Hughes 10. So Black Pearls might go another year without losing. I think this is the 3rd year without losing a game of 15. But it doesn't look like there's anything that's going to be able to stop them.
Yeah, we look forward to see what the breakdown of all these things are when, of course, we get the final match sheets. But of course, it's always great to have you here, Ernest. Always great to have a conversation over rugby, and it's another beautiful day. There's a lot more to do later on in the evening, but thank you guys for being part of us, and cheers.